Hello. Greetings, people of Earth. Fellow Earthlings. How doth thy be? I had some things I wanted to discuss today, and the first of which being I've got my peppermint tea with honey. So, mind your P's and Q's. And let's begin. So, 2001 A Space Odyssey, this film, directed by Stanley Kubrick, of course, and you know the song that opens that movie is the bum 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 bum. You know that song? They use it in Toy Story. That song is called Thus Spoke Zarathustra, right? By Strauss, I think. And what else is called Thus Spoke Zarathustra? Well, that's a book by Nietzsche. And Friedrich, that book is about a lot of his writings. Nietzsche's writings were about becoming a man, quote unquote. They're about becoming, realizing one's potential, and individuation, as Carl Jung would put it. And Carl Jung is another very fascinating figure. I happen to have with me here a little something something. Oh yes. Look at this monster. Oh, this is heavy as hell. It's a thick book. And it's got pictures in. It's got pictures in. It's all happening. Like, very symbolic images and writings. Carl was a unique person. The first half is in Latin. The second half is in English, but there's only pictures on the Latin side. But so Carl Jung, of course. Put it back on the floor. I'll put it up here. Jesus Christ. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist, psychologist, one of a really predominant therapist, really, back in the day. And he spoke to people in and around World War II, right? So he's talking to people, hard people, cold, tough people who've gone through some extreme struggles, and he formulated all this and is inner working and the shadow work. Like, we're talking about a shaman, a true modern day shaman, and someone whose ability to listen helped him a lot. So I find that fascinating. Don't you? He, thus spoke Zarathustra, and becoming a man, individuation. There's another book, Notes from Underground, by Dostoevsky, and it's like 100 pages. It's real short, but dense, and it's all about getting out of the cave, I say this from inside my apartment, but it's about getting out there and releasing inhibitions, facing fears and so on. It's all about facing fears. You gotta face your fears, dog. You have to face your fears, homie. Oh, and I love Carl Jung. Why do I love Carl Jung? Well, and so much of his teachings, and I learned through Jordan Peterson. Now, say what you want about Jordan Peterson. I don't believe with everything he says. He's a bit too much of a Christian for mine. But when he speaks about Carl Jung and when he does lectures, there's the YouTube ones. And when he would be discussing The Lion King, for instance, and he just opens up with, because he's speaking through a Jungian lens, and he's watching The Lion King and the sun comes up in the first scene, The Lion King, and then he's like, okay, so through Jung, this is consciousness. Okay, this is the dawn of consciousness, all right? And I remember hearing that when I was at university, on YouTube, the real university, YouTube University, and I was like, damn, I've never heard anyone speak like that before. And it just made so much sense to me because so much of the world is symbolic. The world is symbols. And everything that lives within and between those symbols. The yin-yang symbol, the to and fro, the mandalas, the Ouroboros, the snake that circles and eats itself, These things are very powerful, very powerful. Or the image of a sun rising is very powerful. And because it just makes you think as a kid, it's like, why did that affect me so? That image, or like when I saw I'll give you a couple. Like Dragon Ball Z, dude. As a kid, growing up in Queensland, near a forest, bro. But so many people can relate. I'm just saying that when you saw Goku go Super Saiyan, right, and then the energy surrounds him, and it's like it's aura, as the kids would say. You see his aura physically represented, and it's electric and moving, and he's like, rah. But he's standing still, right? He's calm as fuck. He's so chill. But and he's always like, Frieza. But he's always in control, But the aura, the energy around him is moving and volatile, and you know that he's a bad motherfucker, but he's the baddest when he's standing still, he's a G, and he's like, it's important to stand still. But yeah, that was a thing as a kid that's very so understandable, so absolutely understandable and relatable. That's why people connect with it so globally, because that's real. That happens. People really do have energies and vibrations, power levels, you could say. Not hierarchically, societally. I mean, that's a little bit true, but anyway. So that was an image that struck me quite as a child. I always loved monkeys and anything to do with monkeys, and the fact that the Dragon Ball Z people were monkeys as well, I was like, huh? That they had tails. I was like, I always wanted a tail. Sounds schizophrenic, but when I was a kid, and mother will attest to this, I think at like 3, I said to her, I was like, "Where'd my tail go?" I was like, "Where is my tail?" And she was like, "What?" She was like, "What do you mean?" You know, encouraging me. She was like, "What do you mean? Go further. Say more." And I was like, "My tail. I just had it." I was like, "Where is it?" Because you'd be able to pick things up, wouldn't you? I'd be able to. I'd be able to grab the tea like that, except my tail would do it. You know what I mean? Anyway. And yeah. What's another image that struck me so? Oh, I mean, pro wrestling. The pantomime, the loudness, the you could be deaf and enjoy pro wrestling. It's so, you know. But anyway, yeah, it's just symbols and archetypes. Oh, bro. The other one is Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. That's the other one because yeah, I like so many others who saw that performance as a kid. Man, just absolutely locked in. He was so in it, so above everyone else when acting, just sheer confidence, just like Heathy baby did not give a fuck, brother. So shouts out Heath Ledger all day. Hope his family's doing well. It's actually, call me gay or whatever, but I actually think about Heath Ledger more than the Roman Empire. I actually think about Heath Ledger once to twice a month. Is that weird? Probably. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to discuss some of those things because they're beautiful to me, and you can bitch and moan about your circumstances. Okay, right? So you were born with poor parents. You were born with rich parents. You were born in America. You were born in Australia. You had the beach as a kid. You wanted the snow. You were in the snow. You wanted the beach. You had a sister. You wanted a brother. Like, you gotta. When does the complaining stop? Yeah, you must face your circumstances, no matter what they are, and adapt and survive as all humans have. This is what you must do. This is your quest and your challenge. This is your mission, should you choose to accept it. Tom Cruise, are you listening to me? Get off your fucking ass, Tom Cruise. And go, allez, mon frère. Arriba, senor. Go get that shit, huh? Papi. Just go forth. Go forth into the darkness and the depths. The hero's journey, as Joseph Campbell says. Also a huge student of Jung. It all comes back to Carl Jung, dude. It all comes back to Carl Jung. So, Terence McKenna, Joseph Campbell, John Mack, Christopher Hitchens, Nietzsche, Jung. Yeah. Who else? Who else do we fucks with? James Hillman. James Hillman, bro. And then there's a whole nother discussion to have about bands and the metal scene and how all that's connected and the rise of metal and the frequency of metal music and rock music and how the people resonate with it so, and how it's like more popular now than it's ever been. So yeah, chat for another day.